Hello, this is Irina from La La Land Crafts. I'm here today with the card making video, a tutorial on how to make a shaped card with the gift card holder inside using La La Land Crafts stamps and dies. I have all of my layers already pre-cut. I'm going to list the dimensions in the video description. I have my card base cut at 5 by 10 and it's scored at 5 inches to create the base. And then I have another layer that's cut at 5 by 5, the square. And to make the shaped card, we're going to use a stitched bracket die. I have it cut 4 times here, and we're going to adhere it to 4 sides of this 5 by 5 square to create a shape. I'm using the glue by Art Glitter called Dries Clear, and I'm going to adhere these bracket shapes on the back of my square, and I'm going to use these little pieces here, the ones that go straight, as the reference how far I'm going to pull this shape out. So I'm just putting the glue on this space, and then I'm going to align it and glue it on the back. And I'm going to go ahead and continue with the rest of these pieces. So this is a really easy way to create a shaped card, which is very popular right now. And you don't need to have a huge die to do that. You can see it works really nice. When we designed this die, this was one of the uses that we envisioned for it. So I'm just checking from the front to make sure that I line it up properly. And the last one. And this is such a pretty shape. Here you go. So you can see it goes nicely on this square. And my card base, as I mentioned, 5 by 10, matches the front layer. So now I'm going to simply adhere it from the back. I find that it's easier to line it up from the back. So I'm going to put glue, cover the front of my card. And then I can line it up. And here's my shaped card. Pretty easy, huh? So now let's keep on working on the layers. I have my first layer cut at 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then my next layer, this pattern paper, is cut at 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. So these layers go together. And then on the front of my card. So pretty. Then for my next layers, I have 2 smaller squares. My cardstock layer measures 4 inches by 4 by 4, And my pattern paper, it's the same design as the previous layer, just the other side of it. And this layer measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So again, these layers go together. And then to attach them to the front of my card, I'm going to use foam tape for some dimension. So I have foam tape in the roll like this. I like using that better than the squares because you can cut to the size that you need. And I like putting a lot, especially when the layer is pretty big, so it displays nicely and doesn't have any sagging in the middle. So I'll put a few more pieces here. Now you can decide which way you prefer your card to open. My cards, most of the time, I make them open from the top. If you prefer, you can of course make it open this way. So with that in mind, I'm going to attach my square onto the card front. Center it, and it goes down right here. Now I'm going to use our other dies to create the scene for the little critters. And the little critters that I'm using, there are from this set called Winter Critters. And the images on the packaging are a little smaller. They're for reference only, so you can see the size of the stems is actually larger. So this is the size of the stems here. All of these products you can find either at your local craft store, or if you don't have a craft store near you, or if your local craft store doesn't carry our products yet, you can find them on our website at lalalandcrafts.com, and I'll have all the links posted for you in the in the video description. Sorry. So I'm going to create the scene with the hill and Christmas trees. Behind the hill right here, you can see it right there. So for that I'm using double stitched hills die. They cut this already. And for these trees I'm using this die right here called Chew Trees, and you can see it has really pretty detail in them. So when you die cut it, the tail shows like that. On this card, I'm actually going to cut the trees apart because they just didn't line up behind the hill the way I wanted it. So that gives you more options. You can move them around. So my trees are going to go somewhere right like this. So I'm going to glue them from behind. Might find that easier. So my large one is going to go on first. And then I'm going to line up the smaller one behind it like this. Somewhere right here. And now I'm going to glue this layer onto the front of the card, onto my smaller square layer. And I'm lining it up all the way to the bottom of the printed paper. I should probably mention this layer, the heel, measures 4 inches long. I kind of wanted it to go to cover the cardstock as well on the sides. So here's this. Then I have die cut already 2 of the snowflakes. So they come in a set of 2. They're called snowflake ornaments. I'll put the links, all the links to all of the products I'm using in the video description as well for you. So I'm going to use the smaller one on the front of the card. Right here. I like the contrast of my green cardstock is the white snowflake in front of it, so I'm going to pull it on the top of the cardstock showing there. So that's very pretty. Then I have die cut already Santa sleigh, and I die cut it from the same white cardstock that I'm using for the card, and I also die cut it from chipboard. So this is the chipboard that we sell in our online store, and it's thick enough for making boxes and journals and albums, but it's also thin enough to die cut with our dies. And you can see all these little details. It's a pretty intricate die, but it die cuts so nice and clean with our dies. So that might be something that you want to look into. And I'm going to glue the white layer onto the chipboard. And I'm not going to offset it or anything like that, but by putting chipboard behind the die cut, it gives it more dimension. It's you can still kind of see it from the sides, so it does have that shadow effect, and it brings it up on the card without using foam tape, which would be a little bit too much for this card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it directly on top. So you can see how it looks like on this card. So you can kind of still see the shadow. It's really, really, really pretty. I really like using that technique. And now I'm going to glue this onto my card front. I really like this glue because it has a little tip, so it's really nice to go into the small areas on the die cuts. So my Santa is gonna go about right here, because I want to leave some room on the bottom left corner for my critters. So pretty. So now it's time to put our critters on. And on my first card, I used the panda and the bear from the set. And on this card, I'm going to use a fox and a bunny. Aren't they cute? They're so adorable. So I want to put one of them down flat and another one popped. So I think I'm gonna put little foxy here and then put the bunny in front of it. I think that's cute. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my little fox. And then put some foam tape behind bunny. And I'll use skinny pieces on the legs and the ears. So that's one of the reasons I like using the tape, because you can cut it to the size that you want or need for your project. And on his little legs, or her, that's probably her. And here she goes. So cute. Now to finish embellishing the front of my card, I'm going to put a pearl inside of the snowflake. The pearls are self-adhesive, but I like putting a little glue behind it just in case, because sometimes they seem to fall off after a while. And then I'll add a few other things for the embellishment. It kind of brightens it up, I think. And we want our Christmas card to be a little festive. So I'll line them first to see where I want them to go, and then a little dab of glue, and it goes back on there. Pretty. So the front of the card is done. So you can see that didn't take long at all. And oops, forgot the sentiment. Let's do this. Let's actually finish the whole thing. So I have my little banner, stitched banner, die cut already, and the banner is from this die called Stitched Elements. And as you can see, this die has a lot of different shapes in it. It has the oval, big oval to begin with, and then it has, this is the banner that I die cut, and it has a little tag, the speech bubble, another label, an arrow, and a star. So this is a really nice set to have many different elements to go on your cards. So I die cut already the banner, and I'm going to use Happy Holidays sentiment. I have it already on my block, and I align it with the grid of the block, so the sentiment actually goes straight down when I stamp it, so I can use the grid part as a reference. I'm going to leave a little more space on the left side because I want to put the bow there. There you go. Now to embellish it a little more, I'm going to use a little piece of twine to tie the bow with it. Going to pull it a little bit to make a smaller bow. Little dab of glue here. And put the bow on, and then I can trim the ends. Let me hold it a little longer. And I'm going to put the sentiment banner on with the foam tape as well. So I'm going to cut a few pieces here. Okay, so now our front of the card is done, and we're going to move on to the center of the card, to the inside of the card. And I like bringing the the same elements that I use on the front on the inside. As you can see, I'm using the heel as well, and the 2 trees, and the other one of my snowflakes. So first thing, for the heel, we'll need to create a space here to create a pocket for the gift card, or you can use this space for additional note that you can put in, or pictures, whatever you prefer, or some tags and memorabilia, anything that you would like to use this space for. Doesn't necessarily need to be a gift card. So to create that, I actually die cut the heel already using the same die that I used on the front for the front of the card, the double stitched heels. And I'm going to use one of our newer release dies, and this one is called Stitched Slots. So you can see it comes as a set of 2. I'm going to use the larger one. So on the larger one, the gift card goes this way. On the smaller one, it goes vertically. I have my die here, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So first, I'm going to line up and decide where I want my opening to be, and I'm going to use removable tape to hold it in place. It's just the one I'm using is by Scotch, and you can see it says removable tape. That will just ensure that my die does not move while I'm die cutting. I have my cuddle bug here with me. Let me move it a little bit more so you can see. So I'm going to put my heel with the slots die on it and run it. Just once is good enough, and you can see it die cut it from the back. So now I'm going to remove my die carefully, and you can see how it created nice space for the card to go in. Now, before I attach this layer, there are 2 more layers that go inside of the card. The green and white, just like on the front. So I'm going to glue that on first. So my white onto the green, and then I'm going to glue it inside of my card. And these layers measure the same as the ones on the front of the card. So my green measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and the white one measures 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. Most of the time I have the layers in 1/4 of an inch increments. Sometimes I do 1/8 of an inch. So this goes in. And now to put my pocket in, I have a few tips or tricks for you. First of all, I like using the card, or if you're going to put pictures or anything like that, put it in. So put it in before you glue the pocket on, because it will create a little space here between the layers, and it will be much easier for you at the end to put things in and pull them out. If I would go and glue it down straight, it would be hard to prep this to put anything inside. So I'm going to put my card in, and then on the back I'm going to use double-sided tape and put the layer on the bottom. and then I'll put the layer of the tape on the side. And actually I'm going to put another one on the side, a little closer to the opening, so my card doesn't wobble inside too much. I like using my piercer to prime the backing of the tape off. Sometimes it's easier to do than using nails. So now, keeping my card inside, just make sure it doesn't go onto your tape. I'm going to put glue on the top of the heel here. And I'm going to put this whole layer on the bottom of my card. So I can pull the card out now, and you can now slide it in and out. Nice. It's a really cool element on the card. You know what I forgot to do now looking at it? I forgot to put my trees behind it. So let me see if I can still quickly lift this paper off a little bit on the side here. Just the glue, and glue my trees really quick, and then I'll put the more glue on that side to glue it down again, to glue the pocket down again. I really like the trees there. I don't want to miss out on that. Okay, so now I just need to put more glue here and glue it back down. Okay, so that wasn't bad. That was a nice little save. Okay, I'm gonna put my card back in. And now the only thing I have left is to glue the second one of my snowflakes on. I'm gonna put it on the side right here. And put another pearl, just like I did on the front. So here you go. Now it's all completed. And this card is a Christmas card, but of course you can use all these ideas and use different papers, use different images, and create this type of card for any event. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll give it a try. And I'll list all of the images or the stamp and all of the dies that I used in the item description, along with the measurements for your reference. And this is all for today. Much love. Till next time.